How many of you have ever followed a dream? No, really. I mean, literally followed a dream. 11 years ago, I woke up from a dream of me knitting. I remember seeing my hands working with the yarn and knitting needles, making some sort of scarf. And I woke up feeling as if it was real. That ever happened to anyone? All I could do was laugh at the thought of me knitting, thinking that I'd probably be all thumbs. But as I was brushing my teeth that morning, I thought to myself, what if? What if I could actually do this? Well, that would have sparked something in me that morning. So that very same day after work, I went to my local arts and crafts store, bought some yarn, some knitting needles, came home, hopped onto YouTube, and began teaching myself how to knit. The crazy thing is that I picked it up really fast. I mean, within months, I'm making hats, scarves, and baby blankets, realizing that my interest was growing each and every day. I had truly fallen in love with knitting. But there was one thing that I didn't love, and that was knitting in public on my commute on the New York City subway. You see, there's this stigma attached to the idea of knitting that only women knit. At least I thought so. So here I am, a Latino guy in his 30s with a knitting project in his bag who's afraid to knit in public because he's afraid of what others might think of him. Every time I got on that train, all I wanted to do was knit, except when it came to knitting on public. I ride the trains at least 2 times a day commuting back and forth from work. But it wasn't until 2 years later that I would build up enough courage to change all that. Let me break down those 2 years for you even further. 2 times a day for an hour comes out to 10 hours of train rides a week for me. Times that by 2 years comes out to 1,040 hours. Guys, that's 1,040 missed opportunities. Times that I could have been knitting on the train, but I didn't because I was afraid, I was frustrated, and I was hanging on to gender norms. Then one day on my way home from work, I said, hell with this. Palms all sweaty, I reached for my knitting project. And all I could think about at the time was, will people point at me? Will they stare at me? Will they laugh at me for doing something considered girly? Sounds ridiculous, right? Did that actually happen? Not at all. No one laughed at me, no one pointed at me. Instead, I got smiles and stares of interest, realizing that the only person judging me was myself. I began embracing my passion without fear and replaced it with this newfound confidence I never had before. It's like kids learning to ride a bike for the first time without training wheels. The moment they can steady themselves on that bike, all they want to do is go up and down the block as fast as they can. And that's exactly how I felt. I just wanted to keep on going. And the only time I ever looked up from my knitting was to make sure that I hadn't missed my stop. Damn it, just a few more stitches. Then one cold November morning a year and a half ago, my life changed. I woke up to crazy notifications on social media, realizing that I had a ridiculous amount of new followers. I had gone from 1,000 followers on Instagram to 3,000 overnight. Something was way off here. Turns out, former American Idol Frenchie Davis snapped a photo of me knitting on the train the night before and posted onto social media. Here I am, baseball cap, army fatigue sweats, rocking a full beard, knitting on the train. I had no idea she was sitting in front of me. The photo had been shared all throughout social media with comments I couldn't even keep up with. I was receiving emails from around the world, and my sales had doubled overnight. I couldn't believe this was happening to me. This brother on the train is my hero today. That's what the caption read on Frenchie's post to me that day. Those 9 words did something to me and made me realize that she and now others saw something in that photo. This guy is doing what he loves regardless of what others are thinking. Soon I began receiving interviews from both local and international media outlets like the Daily News, New York One, CBS, and Telemundo. After every interview came more messages of how my story was breaking down gender walls. No longer was it about a man knitting on a New York City subway. What was once a hobby had now turned into this mission of loving what you do no matter what. I knew that if I wanted this message to be effective, I had to put in the work. So I did. Soon I began working with schools and organizations across New York City talking about inclusion. I began working on a national anti-bully campaign talking to children about the importance of speaking out against bullying. And later, I began working with cancer patients, teaching them how to knit as a form of therapy. Bringing this work to life in my community is now my focus. I'll forever be grateful for when Frenchie took that photo of me that day. But I realized something though. Everything I had in me to be great was already there. I didn't need somebody to take a photo of me to be doing the things that I'm doing now that I could have been doing years ago. So what do you do when that moment presents itself and you now have the attention of many? I want you to do something for me. I want you to think of a time that you were really good at something, or maybe it was something that you had to dig into from the past, something that you're good at. What's that one thing that brings you joy? That thing that takes you to a zone where nothing else seems to exist. That's where you start. And what if you could take that one thing and turn it into passion? How would you use your moment and turn it into something bigger than yourself? Think of a time when you helped someone in need or lent your ear to someone. How did it make you feel knowing that you helped them? And what if you inspired someone? Or what if you saved somebody's life with something you're good at? Those what ifs can easily be turned into missed opportunities if we didn't. Being great at something can take you as far as you want to go. What I'm saying is that you have everything in you to be the next big thing. Sometimes finding your way there is simply asking yourself, what's the worst that can happen if I didn't explore those talents? What if I took fear out of the equation? And so what? So what if I failed or fumbled along the way? Now, there's no guarantee that you'll become the next celebrity or make millions. But if you try, if you gave back to others freely, your life will change. Your life will be richer. But most importantly, you'll become a better version of who you once were. Know this. We all have our own platform, a network, a community that we can help, build, and lean on. Your moment exists right now. My moment wouldn't have happened if I didn't open up myself to scrutiny. Honestly, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for those very same people. Those people I imagined laughing at me, knitting on the train. Thank you.